Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Eric, and if you are a 老朋友, 欢迎你回来, welcome back. In today's video, I will not just be comparing Tesla and NIO, but also will be comparing the ownership experience of owning a NIO versus owning a Tesla. The comparison here is not going to be really deep dive into the specs of the cars, because if you want to know the specs of the car, you can just look it up. I've been meaning to make this video for a very long time. I wanted to start making it when I was still driving my mom's Tesla when I was out in the United States of America. However, I started working on it and thinking about it. I felt like I really needed to get back to China and drive my NIO again, because originally I'd only really driven the NIO extensively, so that was like my point of reference. And then I drove the Tesla, and of course, I started experiencing that, but I couldn't really go back and think about how did I feel about the NIO in comparison to the Tesla, besides just from memory. So I took some notes about what I liked and what I didn't like about the Tesla, and what I thought I liked and didn't like about the NIO, and eventually came back to China and drove my NIO again. And now I can really do a real comparison. So I will be comparing a specific NIO and a specific Tesla, namely my NIO, my mom's Tesla. I know not every car comes out exactly the same. People have different experiences with their cars. My experience is different from yours. What I'm saying, please understand, is that I'm comparing my mom's American-made Tesla Model Y with my Chinese-made NIO EC6. In some ways, these comparisons are not going to be entirely fair. One costs US dollars, is sold in the American market. The other one I bought using Chinese yuan, renminbi. I bought it in China. One includes a battery as part of the purchase price. One does not. I rented my battery. What I'm saying is I just want to be 100% clear before we get into this video, and before people start going, well, actually XYZ, actually this, that, and the other. I know that this is not a 100% apples to apples comparison. I'm just comparing these two specific cars and our experiences with them. And before we do that, I'm going to crack open, not a NIO beer this time, a different Chinese beer, because this is going to be a long one. So you too, sit back, relax. Crack open a beer if you want. Maybe an apple juice. Oh no. Oh yeah. Good. And let's get started. On the screen right now, you can see the costs of purchasing these two cars. I copied into this Excel sheet exactly how you will see the cost broken down when purchasing these cars. Obviously, again, different markets as well as different companies. They're going to have the costs broken down in different ways. I'm not going to one by one, step by step go through these. If you want to, you can pause it and check it. Also, the cost of the NIO, originally obviously in renminbi, I have converted them into US dollars. I rounded it so it's approximate, and it's as of today's exchange rate, which is December 1st, whereas I bought the car way back in April. So you can see this bill. This is exactly how Tesla sends us the bill. You can also see exactly how NIO sends us the bill. I simply transcribed it, put it into Excel, so it's easier. Obviously, two different companies, two different countries, two different markets. Ultimately, I just put this up there so that you can see how much each car costs, and you can see that they're pretty comparable in cost. They're both about $65,000, $70,000. Another reason why I wanted to compare these cars is because they're basically both top of the line, fully spec'd out versions of the car. My mom with the Model Y Performance, me with the NIO Signature Edition. Additionally, some costs that you don't see. The NIO Signature Edition comes included standard the Nomi Personal Assistant, which is like a little robot. Also Autopilot, also a heads-up display, and custom decals, and a few other things as well. So those costs aren't included in the breakdown because they're already included. So before I get into talking about this Tesla, if you haven't seen my videos previously discussing what I like about my NIO EC6 and what I don't like about my NIO EC6, feel free to check the links below. So for the Tesla Model Y Performance, let's start out with the good. The car really is a beast. Like, the acceleration is crazy. I don't think it will ever not be fun to drive this car. I would basically find an excuse to take out my mom's car and drive it just because it's fun to drive. 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds in an SUV or a crossover SUV, that's like more than anyone could actually need. But who cares about your needs when you can have your wants? And I want to go fast, and I think a lot of other people want to go fast as well. So the Model Y Performance, it really performs in this regard. It does really well. I also personally prefer that it's lower to the ground It's a little bit smaller than the EC6. I like a smaller car. I always tell you guys that. You just feel like you're going faster, and you are going faster, especially when you're accelerating 0 to 60 again in 3.5 seconds. I also like the different driving customization options with the Tesla. For example, I set my driver profile to default to sport mode. When I get in the car, it's ready to go. It's fast, it's sporty, it's fun to drive. And I know my mom will hate to hear this, but when I would hit those roundabouts near her house, just cruise through it, rip around the corner when nobody's around, of course, when it's safe to do so. What I'm saying is that in the Tesla, you really feel like you're hugging the road, like you're one with the road. Like, it's a different experience than driving the NIO, for sure. It's a lot of fun. The NIO, for example, also you can adjust your acceleration and your steering wheel settings, but even still, with the most sporty steering wheel setting, it's still a little bit more floaty, a little bit less sporty than the Tesla. So the Tesla's a blast to drive. Another good thing about the Tesla, especially directly compared to the NIO, is that it probably sounds dumb to a lot of people, but the wireless charging for your mobile phone, it actually works in the Tesla. In the NIO, it keeps your phone charged, but it doesn't actually charge your phone. In the Tesla, you can actually charge two phones. They can both get power, increase their power. The NIO is just way too slow. It's just not a powerful wireless charging pad. Another thing about the Tesla is that the speakers, the sound system is actually quite good. It kind of has to be because unfortunately the cabin is very noisy, especially on the highway. But we'll talk more about that later in the things I don't like about the Tesla. I would say the most impressive thing about owning a Tesla is the entire charging experience. And it does a few things better than the NIO, definitely. Now, most importantly, I would say is that when you're road tripping, the Tesla will tell you where to charge and for how long to charge in order to optimize your route. When you're road tripping in a NIO, you don't get this kind of granularity. For example, if I need to plan charges along the way, the NIO will definitely offer up suggestions of where to charge. It will allow you to set your waypoints, that sort of thing, but it doesn't really do like optimized route planning, like telling you how long to charge your car, which place is best. That's something that Tesla does very well. I think it's probably less important for NIO. I think as the swap network becomes more and more extensive, it's going to be less necessary to like plan how long I should charge for, because you just go and swap your car, you have a brand new battery, it's charged. But as of right now, the Tesla route planning, much better than NIO. I will give it that. Additionally, being able to charge at home makes the EV ownership experience very different. This is mostly a difference in living conditions in the two countries, not actual differences between the two brands. I suspect that owning a NIO in the Western world would offer a very similar experience with home charging, including scheduling charging overnight, preconditioning the car in the morning prior to your departure, that sort of thing. Other options that Tesla includes, like Sentry mode, dog mode, camping mode, these add some great value to Tesla, and NIO doesn't necessarily have all these modes or equivalents. Recently, NIO did add a camping mode through an OTA update, although I haven't had a chance to use it yet. And both cars offer entertainment options that I don't really use, I don't care about, like movie streaming or karaoke. And then I suppose the most subjective part of this entire comparison will be how the cars actually look aesthetically. I do like the look of the Tesla Model Y Performance a little bit better than the EC6, just a little bit, but especially because the Performance model has like the black rims and the black trim, and I think it just looks really nice. And I really like my mom's choice of color with the red, black and red. I mean, you can't really beat that. That looks good. Finally, with regards to one-pedal driving, the regenerative braking in the Tesla is a lot more aggressive. Both cars do have options for this. However, NIO does allow the car to behave more like a traditional car, whereas Tesla does not. After driving the Tesla extensively, I do wish NIO had an option to make the regen braking equally as aggressive and make one-pedal driving even more functional and practical. Overall, I would say that the Tesla Model Y Performance is a really fun car to drive. It does have some nice features, but it's also lacking in a few ways, especially compared to the NIO. So let's take a look at that now. Prior to ever driving a Tesla, I had heard so much great things about how awesome the tech was. And for the most part, I do agree with it. I think it's really good, but it is not without some definite flaws. And they're flaws that show up far too often, far more often than I would like. In the month and a half or so that I spent with the Tesla, I found that the software just isn't really that stable. The most obvious and easy to reproduce example is trying to open or use the Tesla user manual. If you don't know, the Tesla user manual is not a paper book, it's a digital manual. It's in the car's operating system onboard computer. I would hazard a guess that somewhere around 50% of the time that you try to use the manual, at least in my mom's car, it freezes. You need to soft reboot the car's computer. Of course, as you own the car for longer, you have less need to open the user manual and look something up. But as a new owner of a car, this is a huge problem if you're trying to figure out how to actually use your car. Ultimately, we decided that it's best to just Google any problem that you encounter using your cell phone. It's better than using the actual Tesla owner manual that's included in the car. Another problem is that the mobile app sometimes doesn't connect to the car, or sometimes freezes and needs to be rebooted from time to time. Sometimes approaching the car doesn't automatically unlock the car, which can be very annoying, especially the time I was carrying heavy groceries and I had to put them down, pull out my phone, and click the unlock button in the app. Now, I fully understand that all software has bugs. No piece of software is going to be perfect. They're all going to have issues. But I personally found that for this supposedly best-in-class software, there is still a lot of work to go. When comparing it with my NIO EC6, I've owned the car since April. I've had one instance in which the Maps app froze. I could exit the app. I could do other things within the NIO operating system. However, the turn-by-turn navigation didn't work. It was frozen. The map stayed frozen even when I reopened the Maps app. It stayed frozen until I turned off the car and turned the car back on. I do know another NIO owner who has told me that his car has some problems with freezing screens, but I've never experienced it myself, so I can't really say that it's a problem for me. Of course, like I said with the Tesla, I'm sure every car, every computer, every piece of software has bugs. From my personal experience, my NIO has had less bugs, less issues with freezing than my mom's Tesla. That's all personal experience. When compared with the Tesla, every time that I have walked to my car has automatically unlocked. I have never needed to use the fob button or the app to unlock my car due to a failure of the automatic doors not unlocking. However, sometimes the trunk, which you can swipe your foot under to open, sometimes that doesn't work on the NIO. So again, both cars have their issues with this sort of thing. Neither of them are perfect. The best thing about the Tesla operating system is how quickly it starts up. By the time that you sit down and you have your seatbelt on, the Tesla is always ready to go. NIO, on the other hand, sometimes can take 30 seconds or so to get ready, even after you've buckled your seatbelt. And with the NIO, it's even slower since they updated the operating system to 3.0. It seems that 3.0 is slightly more buggy, although it still doesn't freeze like the Tesla sometimes does. Moving right along. The Tesla Model Y suffers from very poor visibility. If you have seen my video complaining about the EC6, you'll see that I say the exact same thing about that car. I think it's probably a common problem with crossover SUV design. However, the Tesla is worse in a variety of ways. First, the mirrors on the Tesla are tiny. The rearview mirror and the side mirrors are very small. The side mirrors also fail to have a blind spot warning light. The car does have side cameras that help with this lack of visibility, but I personally don't usually drive with the cameras up, but I know some people do. The Tesla also doesn't have a 360 camera, which in my NIO I really like, and I find it to be ideal in a variety of circumstances. Overall, I would say that the Tesla Model Y just does not feel as driver-oriented when it comes to safety features. After I was driving the Tesla for a while and thinking about some issues I had with it, it reminded me of what a Tesla staff member told us when we initially took our test drive. I asked that staff member at Tesla if there was an option for a heads-up display. And he answered just like this, I shit you not. Actually, Elon does not want a heads-up display because he thinks it distracts from the beautiful view out of the windshield. Tesla cars are all designed for autonomy first. When you have Autopilot on, you would not want a heads-up display blocking your view. So when I consider most of my complaints with regards to the Tesla, I think that most of them actually fall back on what this Tesla staff member said, that this car is not designed with a human driver in mind. It's designed for autonomy. But I do find this kind of strange because actually driving the car is a ton of fun. But then I start thinking about like the small mirrors, lack of blind spot warnings, lack of steering wheel feedback for lane drift, for example, or even all the information being contained on the center screen, the center console screen also not being able to angle towards the driver, no heads-up display option, no traditional dashboard instrumentation panel. All of these decisions seem to be because Elon wants a car designed for autonomy. The only problem I see with that is that right now, humans are still driving these cars. It feels like a lot of the design currently is not designed with people in mind. Okay, real quickly, a few more things about the Tesla that I don't love, but I'm sure they've been covered extensively elsewhere. First is the cabin noise. The car is very, very loud. Let's just be real here. Especially on the highway, you're driving 70, 75 miles per hour. The car is loud. The cabin noise is loud. The speaker system is good enough to the point where you can turn the speakers up. Even I'm just listening to like a podcast and I can hear everything clearly. And compared to the NIO, which is like whisper quiet, like you can't hear the outside world hardly at all. It's a huge night and day difference. Just the overall feel of the ride, the suspension, it's very stiff. In a Tesla, you feel every bump. At first, it was kind of rough, kind of like, I don't really like this, but I did get used to it. And when you're driving, it's not so bad, but when you're a passenger, it can be really annoying. Again, compared to the NIO, The NIO has air suspension. I've seen people complain about the NIO being also a little bit rough, but again, it's night and day difference between the Tesla and the NIO. Another issue is the OTA updates for the Tesla. I was kind of shocked. I didn't do my research, let's be real here, but I was kind of shocked to find out that the Tesla only really gets updates via Wi-Fi, not over the 4G mobile network. With my NIO, I update my car using the mobile network. I'm assuming it's because most people in America, they have their own garage, their house has Wi-Fi, but not everybody does. Now, my uncle who owns a Tesla in America, I don't want to speak for him, and I don't know if this even is a problem for him, but I know that when he updates his car, he has to drive his car, park it on the road, move his Wi-Fi router out to his balcony, simply because he lives in an apartment in a city and he has underground parking. So if it bothers him, I don't know, but I know that it's just something that he has to deal with. I would say at the very least, it's kind of a silly situation to have to put yourself in. I'm well aware that you cannot please everybody. I know that probably a lot of you disagree with some of the things I've said so far, and you probably also disagree with some of the things I'm about to say right now, but I have a few suggestions that I think would make Tesla better. First, I think there needs to be a designated home or all clear button. It can be a physical button, it can be on the touchscreen. There just needs to be like a standard, this is how you close every app, and you pull back up like the main home screen. As it currently is, there's no standard, exit. Like if you have the cameras up, you have to click the X to close out. If you have the music app, you can click the music, or you can drag down or something. There just should be a button to all clear. Another suggestion I have is there should be the ability to customize your screen, your user interface, the layout. I would say ideally it could be modular, where you could mix and match where you want things to go, or at the very least have 2 or 3 different options for how to lay out the screen. Me personally, if I had my choice of how to lay it out, I would just swap the map with the turn-by-turn navigation. I would put that on the left, closer to the driver, and the visualization of the outside world, the cars, the traffic, the bicycle riders, traffic lights, the cones, that thing would go on the right. If I'm driving, it's kind of cool to look at that animation, that visualization, but more importantly is I want to know where to go. And especially since there's no heads-up display and there's no dash instrumentation in front of your steering wheel or behind your steering wheel, the information that I think is most vital is, if I'm navigating somewhere, is where to go. So I don't know why it's so far away from me. It's not a huge deal, but I don't necessarily understand it. Another nitpicky thing is I don't understand why a voice command needs a button press. In my car, I say, "Hi, Nomi," and Nomi will reply to me, and I can interact with her, and she can open my window or turn down the volume or do whatever I want her to do. When I'm at home, I can say, "Hi Siri," or "Hi Alexa." I don't have an Alexa, but you just say it and then they respond and they do what you want them to do. Unless I'm missing something, I tried to look it up, but I couldn't find any way to make it so that the voice commands in a Tesla are activated by voice. You have to push the button, which kind of defeats the purpose of a voice command. I feel like I must be missing something entirely obvious, and if I am, please comment. Finally, I would like to compare my experience with Autopilot in NIO and Tesla. However, I didn't drive with Autopilot on enough in the Tesla. And this is mostly because the highways in California are pretty crazy. There's tons of traffic. Everybody's going 85 or 90. It's just, I didn't feel that comfortable using Autopilot extensively. I used it some. I would say that it's very comparable to the NIO Autopilot. But driving in China and driving in America are very different. In China, on the highway, there's no traffic. You just hit Autopilot and the car can drive for 2 hours and you won't even see anybody. Whereas in America, there's tons of traffic on the highway. There's people cutting you off. There's people tailgating you. There's people slamming on their brakes. It's probably why we need Autopilot, because it hopefully can eliminate some of the variability and the randomness of driving. But it's a little bit, not scary. I wasn't scared to use it. Just I didn't use it that much because I prefer driving when there's people everywhere. Whew. All right, so yeah, that's pretty much everything about the cars themselves. I hope that you can see that I do like both cars. There's things I like better about the NIO. There's things I like better about the Tesla. Overall, I would say if you could buy a Tesla or you could buy a NIO, they're both really good. You probably can't really go wrong necessarily. They can both be improved upon, and I'm sure they both will be. So now that we have talked about the actual physical vehicles, what I want to talk about next is the actual experience of owning the car. Because I would say that's where the experiences diverge completely. Because driving a NIO and driving a Tesla are pretty similar. First, if you have seen my video picking up my NIO and the video picking up the Tesla, you already know what I'm talking about here. If you haven't, go watch them. The links are below. The NIO experience of picking up a car is very good. They teach you everything about the car. They take pictures. They have a bunch of stuff in the trunk, like welcome gifts and balloons and crap. And I'm not saying this is something that's necessary. Every car company shouldn't do this. Tesla doesn't need to do this for every customer, but it is something that's nice. Whereas when we picked up our Tesla, the experience was very poor. But there's videos on that. You can watch those and see. So the next thing about owning a NIO is how they keep you engaged in like the ecosystem, keep you up to date with what's happening with the car and the companies. Their app is like a whole social media network. I can easily see this being argued as a negative feature. We have too many social media networks already. We already have Facebook and Instagram and everything else. We don't need another one. However, you don't need to actually engage in the social media aspect of the app to derive value from the app and from the ecosystem of NIO. When you buy the car, they give you NIO points. When you use the app every day, you get NIO points. Like when you check in on the app, you can use these points for a lot of different things. You can buy shoes, you can buy clothes, you can buy bags, you can buy food, you can buy all kinds of stuff if you want to. You obviously don't have to. And this stuff's all free, basically. It's included because you get points for being a part of the NIO family, community, whatever. And so when you compare like the NIO app with the Tesla app, which the Tesla app is very, very minimal, just like the interior of the car. It's very bare bones, it's simple. I can see benefits for both, definitely. Like if you just want an app that controls your car, Tesla's obviously the way to go. But if you want to like be a part of a community, be engaged with the community, get rewards for using your car, for using the app, then NIO is the way to go. The next thing about owning a NIO is the experience of their service. So they offer a mobile charging service, which is really good. Anywhere in China, you can be in the desert, in the mountains, anywhere, and you can schedule them to drive to you and charge up your car. So if you're somewhere where there's no charging facilities, you're still able to go there. You're still able to visit that place, and you can rest assured that you will have a charge. This is free 6 times per year for every NIO owner. So that kills any range anxiety you might have. The Tesla supercharger network is also very good, very extensive, which also can eliminate any range anxiety you might have there. But you can't necessarily go off into the remote wilderness and not have to worry, because from my understanding, there's no mobile charging option for free with Tesla. Obviously, also you get 6 battery swaps per month at the battery swap stations. And as the network gets built out, and it's ideal for a place like China where we don't have home charging necessarily. And you also get 12 free charges per year when you go outside your like a 200 kilometer radius from your hometown or from your address. So if you're on a road trip somewhere you don't know, there's no NIO station, battery swap station, no NIO charging station nearby, you go and charge and you scan it with the NIO app, and you have the choice to have NIO pay for your charge, which is also a very nice feature. And I would contrast this with like when we picked up our Tesla and the car wasn't charged. I think it was 59% charged or 62, something like that, which is enough. It was enough for us to get home. But would have been nice if they were like, you can charge your car. We have 5 charges included, or 2 or 1. It's just like something that's nice to do. Obviously, again, they don't have to do it, but that they do it is a very good thing. Now, I don't really think that battery swap in America is super necessary, at least not an extensive network of battery swap stations. But I do think that if, for example, my mom drove her Tesla fully charged from home to San Francisco, which is 100 plus miles away, and she went to the opera or went to a baseball game, did whatever it is that she does, and then she swapped her battery and drove back home, that's kind of situation, driving into the big city, swapping your battery instead of finding a charger, I think that would be really good. And I think most Americans could see a benefit in something like that, especially if they're suburban Americans. Another thing about the NIO experience, when you own a NIO, you get 35 coupons for things like airport valet, car wash, designated driver, and other things as well. So you can use those coupons to get these services for free. You can also use your NIO points that I mentioned before for things like a NIO car rental. So if I flew from here in Shenzhen to Beijing and I wanted to rent a car in Beijing, I can use my NIO points and they will give me a NIO to drive while I'm in Beijing. So again, this makes the ownership experience, I would say, more enjoyable, and it just makes everything a lot more convenient and simplifies your life in a lot of ways. Everything's kind of thought of and included already. So one more thing before we get out of here in this very long video. So if your car needs service, or for example, you have a punctured tire, NIO can contact you through the app and they can inform you that, hey, we're just going to send a technician out to your car and take a look at it. And then they can change your tire, or they can pick your car up and drive it somewhere like to the service center if that's necessary. So they're actively monitoring the health of your car, making sure that your car is safe to drive, which is really cool. I would say that in general, their service goes far above and beyond what is expected of any company. And I don't blame Tesla at all for not offering any or some or all of these services. However, it's very clear which one is offering more. And I don't think that's a controversial take at all. So if that's something that you value, the ownership experience, not simply driving the car, but the whole total package, then NIO obviously has a great deal of value. So that was a really long video, and I appreciate if you stuck it out. I hope you enjoyed your beer. If you like this video, of course, like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell. If you didn't like it, leave me feedback. I really appreciate it. Take care. See you later. I hope you have a wonderful day or night. Whatever works. Anyway, bye-bye. New hat. Finish your beer, because I haven't finished mine yet. And drive safe. Everything good I wish for you. Take care.